Welcome back. Time now for the Word on Wall Street. Top investors watching you. Money. Joining me now is Payne Capital Management President Ryan Payne. Also with us is Kenny Polcari this morning. Thank you for joining the conversation. Good to see you.
Great to be here, Maria.
As the melt-up continues, look at futures this morning with more gains in record territory. The Dow Industrials right now up 176. You've got the NASDAQ up 185 right now as the major averages go further into record territory, because yesterday the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ were hitting fresh intraday highs, and then at the close they hit all-time highs in record territory. The NASDAQ up to 26,656 with a gain of better than 1% yesterday, and the S&P now at 7,519. That's up 0.2% yesterday, 45 points higher, and it was led by a rally in tech. Shares of Micron Technology is certainly a standout, up 19.25%. It is now at the $1 trillion market valuation. Semiconductor stocks, of course, have been on a roll, and this morning we continue to see money move into the semis across the board. Best performer this morning is Taiwan Semiconductor, up 3.75%. Would you buy into this group today after this huge run-up that we've seen?
I think it's really hard. I mean, look at Micron. It's up 860% over the last 12 months. It went from $100 billion last year to $1 trillion. That's a pretty wild number. And if you look at semiconductors in general, they're up 89% this year as a group. They trade at like 27 times forward earnings, when historically it's more like 15 times. And what we forget about semis is they're very, very cyclical. Either they go straight up or they go straight down. So I don't know. I wouldn't jump in right now, and they can continue to go higher. I could be completely wrong in the short term, but it's kind of like we're at the party. We know the party ends at midnight, but there's no clocks on the wall. So I think you have to be really selective here what you buy. I wouldn't go right into the semis head on here.
Yeah,
paraphrasing Warren Buffett.
It just feels like when you're looking at the AI infrastructure, the guts of this is energy, powering this, and chips. And, you know, I mean, we spoke with NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang last week, and he likes to call it a 5-layer cake. And the bottom layers are energy and chips.
Well, it's energy, it's chips. But think about all the adjacent stuff, too, where you think about the HVAC and names like Train that are going to build these data centers to support all these chips inside the data center. So there's a big story here, and it's all very exciting. But to your point, I wouldn't jump in after yesterday's move in the semis. I absolutely would not be jumping in buying it up here. We own it, so we're participating. I own it. I'm happy. I love it. But I'm not buying more on a move like this.
Well,
it feels a little bit like it's getting too giddy for me.
I mean, the power is such a big part of this story. And President Trump has been focused on getting oil prices lower. And we're looking at that actually take place right now, as investors do have hopes and conviction that a deal with Iran will get done. The price of oil this morning is down 3.2%. Crude oil back at $90 a barrel, Kenny. And White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett joined me here yesterday and said that this is going to continue, especially on the other side of this war. Watch this.
As soon as the straits are open, then energy prices are going to plummet like nothing you've ever seen before. There's so much oil sitting in the Gulf. There's so much excess capacity in Saudi Arabia and UAE that prices should drop very, very quickly. And since core inflation has just barely budged because of this temporary circumstance, then I expect that the big positive supply shock is going to overpower oil much sooner than people know.
You agree with that?
I do agree that it's going to come down. I'm not so sure it's going to plummet right off the bat. I think there's been a lot of disruption to the whole oil supply issue around all these ships sitting there, and they've closed down productions, wells in the Mideast, and so you got to bring those back online. So while I do agree it's going lower, I don't think we're going right back to 60. If we go back into the low 80s, high 70s, which is great, I think we go there for a little bit. But I think the going right back to where we were prior to this conflict in the low 60s. Is going to be a little bit longer.
Well, the Reagan National Economic Forum out with a new survey. It shows how Americans feel about energy sufficiency and abundance in the country, and the vote was split between feeling sufficient and abundant. We will be live from the National Economic Forum, the Reagan Economic Forum, this Friday. We've got a host of guests coming from the forum, and we will talk about energy as well as how to watch this market and how soon we could actually see the reversal. Kenny, would you put money to work in energy right now?
So I would. I like energy. It's the name I like. But now, literally, you have to be a little bit careful, because with oil prices coming down, you'll see some pressure on energy. You saw it yesterday. It was down 2.5%. So I think you got to be selective and careful. I think it's going to go lower, so I'd be a little bit more patient. But yes, I like energy as a sector, and so I would. It's one of the sectors that I would continue to put money.
Do you agree with that?
I do. I don't think energy energy prices are coming down the way people are saying they're going to go down. Like Kevin Hassett is the most optimistic economist. That's great. But I think it's for positive reasons. If you look at industrial production globally, it's going up. There's going to be more need for oil even after the conflict ends. And if you look at oil futures, even out to like September, October, you're still in the 80s. I think it may stay there. I think it stay elevated for quite a bit longer. It's because economic growth is actually going up. It's a positive reason.
Did you see yesterday President Trump talking about the prediction markets and entering this fight? He wrote on Truth Social this: "It is critically important that the CFTC's exclusive authority over prediction markets is maintained and that the CFTC will thrive. Under my leadership, we're setting rules of the road that are the gold standard for the states, and it is a major industry and we must protect it." The president took aim at several officials whose states have tried to regulate gambling or gone after prediction market platforms like Kalshi and Crypto.com. Ryan, what do you make of all of this?
I think it's a very gray area. The states obviously want that money, so they want to say it's gambling, so they can take that money. But I will say, like, if you look at economists and when they're predicting the future, sometimes I just go to Polymarket or Kalshi because their predictions are actually better because there's money on the line. And I also think this is one of the reasons why crypto is trading around 75,000 from the high, is because so much more money is going here to gamble as opposed to, other places like you had crypto before. So I think it's somewhere in the middle. I like it as a financial instrument, but also I think people are using it to gamble. So I don't really know where you put that. Ken's the one, he was on the exchange. He might have a better opinion than I do.
I mean, I agree. I think they use it to gamble, and I think you have to kind of separate that a little bit, because then I think it stains the whole process, right? The investing process. And I'm very sensitive to kind of how that looks, how that looks to long-term investors.
We're going to talk with the CEO of Robinhood coming up in a little while. And, of course, his stock, Robinhood stock, gains momentum when you see that kind of prediction markets activity. I want to mention satellite and space stocks surging after SpaceX came out with the paperwork, officially filing to go public. The company on pace to become the largest IPO in history with a valuation of $2 trillion. Look what happened to satellite stocks as a result of that. Anthropic also expected to IPO this year, along with OpenAI. We could see paperwork on OpenAI in the coming days or weeks. What about these mega IPOs? Look, if you want to go public and you're an enormous, valuation like SpaceX, this is a market to do it. That's for sure.
100%. If you're going to do it, you got to do it now.
Yeah.
Strike while the iron's hot, and the iron is very hot.
Yeah, I wish my company was trading for 90 times sales. So if I'm a private company right now, absolutely you're going to go public. You're going to take advantage of these markets. They're so hot.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to jump in it.
We're going to talk with the CEO of Quantum Space. I mean, space has become critical in terms of national security.
Yes.
So when you look at how SpaceX has done, has supported lots of the president's agenda in terms of, SpaceX's business, you can see the national security component. Yeah.
100%. And if it was 2018, I got a 30 billion multiple. Kenny didn't get me in at that price. I'd be really happy, but I wouldn't be jumping in today at a $2 trillion valuation. It's getting a little rich here, but that's what happens when these companies go public in a hot market.
Understood. Ryan, great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Payne, Kenny, you're with us all morning long, and we're so grateful for that. Quick